Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Not the weekend we wanted / expected, OB.
Not the weekend it was expected.
Okay, how about this? Not the weekend that I wanted to expect. I think basketball-wise, I didn't expect a victory. I wasn't expecting a loss either. I didn't know what to expect. I feel like they were trending in a losing direction, taking on a quality team on the road like Florida. Baseball-wise, I was expecting, look, they finished nice, thank you.
All's well that ends well.
But I was expecting 2 of 3, not in the winning column, not in the losing side of things.
Yeah. Well, maybe that last game, last night where they scored 14 runs, had 5 home runs, maybe that's the breakout game. And we'll start seeing the offense that we anticipated seeing.
We hope so. We need so.
Yeah.
Look, we'll keep saying, because it is just baseball. I was talking to a baseball guy this weekend who was like, dude, don't read into it too much. Like, it's baseball. It takes time, trends. You don't just snap out of it like that. That being said, I'm not panicking, but I'm concerned.
I think concern is warranted to a certain degree. I'm still personally more concerned about the bullpen because I haven't seen
the bullpen,
those guys perform at a high rate. I've seen the hitters now, so that tells me, they're going to hit eventually.
Yeah. But let's go back to basketball and start off the show. Okay?
Yeah.
4 straight losses.
4 straight losses. The opponent has had at least 9 3-pointers in every loss. Florida hit 14 3-pointers. And in those 4 losses, their opponents are shooting about a little more than 42%.
42% from the 3.
Yeah.
You're not going to, with the way A&M, look, it seems to me that at this point of the season, people have figured out what you do. And either you have to disguise it, or you have to change it, you have to alter it when it's not working anymore, right? And right now, teams are hitting threes against A&M.
Yeah.
It is more than a trend. This is what is happening.
And what Florida did also on top of that was the offensive rebound, which is, typically not what a team can do. And they rebounded well. And A&M, they have to compensate for their own shooting issues by playing good defense, by rebounding and getting to the foul line. Well, they got to the foul line. They rebounded well. They just didn't rebound dominant.
They didn't dominate the rebound, yeah.
And then, they didn't play good defense. I think
and turnovers.
Yeah. What they have, 14?
It was 15.
15.
Yeah. Too many turnovers.
Take care of the ball.
This was a team that early on when they were winning, they were probably, 9 turnovers a game?
Yeah, probably one. Here's the deal, though. Look, you've lost 4 in a row. There's no excuses. So I don't want this to sound like an excuse. Florida's a bad matchup for A&M.
You said that going into it.
Especially on the road. And I kind of I didn't anticipate a 19-point loss. So part of that was they went on a 9-0 run to close the game. But
again, to close the game, something we've seen in a couple of games.
But what was different in that one was that the issue was pretty much settled.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't know how anybody can be confident for tomorrow night's game against number 1 Auburn.
Yeah.
Who looks outstanding, and you
don't. You're playing your worst basketball of the
Yeah.
year, and you've had your 2 worst losses, points-wise, in this stretch, 16 and 19. You played, I thought, pretty well against Tennessee. Obviously not well enough to win, but I liked the game that day. A better team beat you.
Yeah, and here's the deal, and we said this before. All 3 of the losses are very easily explainable. Mississippi State's a good team. You played them a really good team.
Yeah.
You played them on their floor. It's hard to win in the SEC on the road. It just is. Teams do it. A&M has done it. But it's just hard to win on the road. I'm never taking a road game in the SEC against a good team for granted. I'm not.
Okay.
Tennessee, one of the best teams in the country, you shot 6 of 30 from the free throw line, and you didn't check Lanier.
Right.
Enough. Okay, but a lot of teams are going to lose since Tennessee. Doesn't mean it's okay, but I can understand it. The one that makes no sense to me it was losing to Vanderbilt. Had you gotten that loss to Vanderbilt, have you won that game? It's almost like in football, even though Vanderbilt is better in basketball than Auburn is in football, it was almost like in football, if you'd gotten the Auburn win, it'd feel different. Had you won at home against a Vanderbilt team that you're better than, I know Vanderbilt's good and they needed that game, but if you win that one, I don't think we're as whatever we are right now.
I'm going to take a different approach.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue with you, but to me, when this losing streak started, the conversation was, you could be a 1 seed. You could. Probably won't be. Could. You're destined to be a 2 seed. Just do what you're supposed to do. And since then, when you are that highly regarded this late in the season, you cannot go 0-4, regardless if it's on the road or if it's at home against these teams. 2-2, okay. 1-3, I don't like it, but you can't go 0-4 when you are a 2 seed that none of us believed they were going to be a 1 seed. Let's go ahead and be honest. I didn't believe it, but mathematically, it was there.
Mathematically, it meant you were going to beat Florida and Auburn, right?
Right.
I wonder, I'm going back to what I was saying, I wonder if you had beaten Vanderbilt, if they'd still be looked at as a 2 seed. Again, no. They were still a 2 seed after losing to Mississippi State. No one's going to hold it against you too much for losing to Tennessee and definitely on the road against Florida.
Yeah.
But again, the losses, for the most part, aren't as alarming to me as the way in which you've lost. Yeah, look, we know sometimes they're not going to make threes. We wonder why they're going to shoot so many, but sometimes we wonder, we're not going to be surprised. In fact, we're surprised when they are successful.
Sure.
Whatever you define as successful from three-point shooting. But what we are surprised at, I'm mostly, and alarmed by mostly, is the defense's failure to
close out on the three.
Close out on three, or just in general.
Yeah.
Like, again, Tennessee, remember, they just, that last 8 minutes or whatever, they just scored almost every time they had the ball. Vanderbilt, the last 4 or 5 minutes was the same thing.
Well, that again goes back to and the Mississippi State game was close until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? You were within 6 with 8 minutes left? I forget the time. But
look, A&M won a lot of close games early, and now they're losing some close games. That one at Florida wasn't close. Not necessarily, definitely surprised it was a 19-point thing. Not necessarily surprised that they would have, had they lost by 10, I would have said, yeah, it's kind of what I expected.
But losing at the end, momentum-wise, this doesn't feel, it is. The arrow's pointing down. The arrow's pointing down on A&M basketball.
You can't lose 4 in a row and possibly 5 in a row, and the arrow has to be pointing down. It definitely can't be pointing up, and quite frankly, and I saw Lenardi has them as a 4 seed now, and gosh, that's not bad. And I think
it's not bad had we told you that maybe in January, like, hey, I'll take a 4. But when you start, we had a topic on the show that, could they really be a 2? Maybe sneak into the 1? Could they? Like, it was a conversation because it was possible.
I would never thought 1 was possible. I thought 2 was something to hope for. I thought 3 seemed more likely.
Yep.
And now 4 is kind of like, okay, I'm a little disappointed, but all right. Hey, maybe they'll play themselves back into a 3.
Yeah. Well, they got 2 left for the tournament. You'll be there in Nashville for the SEC tournament.
Yeah, Luke and I.
And just again, we talked about vibes last week. I think with everything happening in the big 3 sports right now, it's we're a volatile fan base.
Yeah, and I do think that the way A&M hit the ball last night gave people
hope.
Yeah, a reminder what this team can be. In fact, I had a guy at the gym come up to me this morning that I don't know, and he just said, "Hey, at least y'all finally got something good to talk about."
Yeah,
and it is good to talk about 5 home runs. So there's that.
How do you process, taking away the analyst hat, just taking a step back, a trend and then a break in the trend for one game? Do you need to see it multiple? Like, if we see it against UTSA, all right. Like, are you that? Or are you like?
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. I have to say, okay, how good was these pitchers from
Rice?
From Rice, but
coming into the weekend, Rice was playing better baseball this year.
So I just have to say that I'm encouraged, but not. Not. What concern you had is you were talking about is still there. I'm encouraged that
the offense woke up in a game.
Yeah, it shows you what they can be, what we expected them to be, not what they have to be.
Where do you think they'll be in the rankings today?
I don't know.
Out of the top 10?
Maybe.
It's already out. They're number 14.
14,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that one of the biggest drops we've seen from one?
Personally, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's fun to say, hey, you got that one by your name. Quite frankly, it might work in their favor to be out and just start working your way back up.
Yeah.
But again, we've seen these guys hit. We know guys that we haven't seen hit like before because they weren't playing for A&M, but we know they've hit. So I've always thought eventually they'll hit. It's just that maybe they're not going to hit at the same volume that they did last year, and that's okay. If they had scored 5 runs
against Arizona?
No, in every game.
Okay.
Or at least 5 runs in every game. They're probably, 2 losses?
Yeah.
And that starting pitching gives me encouragement.
Heck
and the fact that, that they may not have to score a ton of runs.
So let's kind of sum it back up to the people you have to count on for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. Basketball-wise, you got to count on Wade Taylor. And
Wade's been cold.
He's been cold, right? I mean, there's others you count on the basketball team, but the big guy is Wade, right?
Yes.
From a baseball perspective, Ryan Prager, Jace, those are guys you count on, right?
Yeah.
You thought you were going to be able to count on Gavin. Prager's been
excellent,
amazing. Jace,
it's getting off to a slow start, especially with his power numbers.
Yeah, but
he got 2 hits last night that went. I saw that they went about 15 feet between them.
Well,
but hey, it doesn't matter. You got on base.
Jace has got enough of a track record
absolutely.
that I'm not worried about. And we said that about Wade, and I still think Wade will. But I'm wondering, is he just not healthy? Is he tired? I don't know. I mean, I had kind of expected at this point of the season he would be more fresh based on years past because he's got more to spread the wealth. Have teams figured it out? Is it just a bad stretch?
I think it's just a bad stretch. That's all I think about it. I mean, look, Wade is never, as good as he is, he's never been that, knock your eyes out shooter.
Yeah.
He's always been a streaky shooter, always has been. And, when he gets back on a hot streak, he can drop 30.
Yeah.
We've seen it frequently. We just hope he gets back on that hot streak fast, soon, ASAP.
In the next segment, I want to kind of go through some of these 3-point numbers in a different kind of way and just kind of break those down. But let me tell the people what show they're listening to. They're listening to TexAgs Live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for agreeing. I appreciate that. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We are.
Yeah, thank you. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yes.
You're sure of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. this current area, the paint that we're in, it's the holistic planning cool zone.
It is. It is the cool zone. You know what's cool about it? Because you could go to holistic planning, and they can help you with your investments.
Yep.
And anybody making money with their investments, that's cool. Tax time's coming up next month.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to help you with your taxes. Estate planning goes back to investments. And what's really cool is investing in
pro sports.
Pro sports.
Yeah, you can invest in pro sports by going to investinprosports.com. The folks at Holistic Planning will take care of you. All right, if you want to be a part of the conversation, call us up, 979-693-1150. We'll pick it up on the Bubby's Catering hotline. You can text that number as well. Do you feel a little better after baseball? How do you feel about basketball? I want to hear from you. We'll talk about that throughout the show. We go around the room. We say hi to the people. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better about Aggie baseball after last night, just because if you look at their upcoming schedule, you got a lot of chances to feel a little bit better up until that March 14th through 16th series with Alabama. That opens up conference play. You got UTSA, TSU, New Mexico State this weekend, and then Prairie View A&M. So, offense has been sputtering, a chance to kind of do what they did last night and, slug 5 home runs, maybe feel a little bit better at the plate. Maybe guys like, Gavin Cash went deep, but, how Jace had a few dribblers that, he ended up going 3 for 4. So some guys in the lineup need that. So hopefully we can see that throughout the next week or so.
All sports are about confidence, but baseball's such a mental sport, man. It's such a mental sport. You get it to a little bit of a hot streak, I don't care, against 2, it can carry over.
Yeah, there are other sports this week. I'm wondering how they did. I have to admit that I was kind of out of pocket.
We got some updates for you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
In fact, we're going to go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We hung out at the Angry Elephant. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we had a good time, though, didn't we?
I did.
Yeah.
I certainly did.
Yeah, it was a great time. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carter's there. Carter, good morning, buddy.
How are we doing, guys?
Southlake Carter.
That's me. Well, we do have some very exciting news from the other sports. Texas A&M men's track and field team won its first ever SEC Indoor Championship title, securing the victory in a dramatic final race at the R.A. Murray Fasken 38 Indoor Track and Field Facility. The title was sealed by the 4x400 meter relay team of Ahmad Robinson, Cutler Zamzow, Antoine Norta, and Kumar Farquharson, who clocked an impressive 3:03.09. Robinson set the tone with a 49.92 opening leg, while Zamzow ran the fastest second leg of all teams with a 45.37. Norha and Farquharson maintained the lead with a final split of 45.6 and 45.22, claiming that victory. Some more individual standouts from that.
Let me jump in there. Coach Henry on this show said many times, I'm not predicting a national championship, but he has said the SECs are harder than the NCAAs because the level of teams that are there, all are top 10 teams, are all participating. So congrats to them.
I watched that relay on YouTube. It was impressive.
That's some good stuff right there. We'll go into some individual standout performances. Ahmad Robinson dominated the 400 meter, winning the gold with the season best 45.07, the third fastest time in the NCAA this season. Sam Whitmarsh defended his indoor 800 meter title with a time of 147.69, marking his third straight conference championship victory at the event. Cooper Cothra secured silver in the mile with 4:03.23, making a strong final lap push to claim his first individual SEC medal. Some team accomplishments: Texas A&M men's finished with 107.5 points and 9 medals. The breakdown is 5 gold, 3 silver, 1 bronze. The women's team finished 5th, helping both squads secure the Cotton Holdings Lone Star Showdown Trophy, outperforming Texas in team standings, which is always a good thing to hear. The Aggies will now prepare for the NCAA Indoor Championships in Virginia, March 14th and 15th. So certainly good for the indoor track and field guys.
I know we got some other sports to talk about, right? What else do you have for us?
So we've got
softball.
We've got some tennis. Number 12 Aggie men's tennis team claimed a 4-3 victory over number 26 Oklahoma in a thrilling match at the Headington Family Tennis Center in Norming. Texas A&M, who's 2-1 of the SEC, faced Oklahoma, who's also 2-1 of the SEC. Despite losing the doubles point with losses on court 1 and 2, the Aggies bounced back in singles play. Junior Togan Tokac claimed the win for A&M, securing the decisive 4-3 victory. He was the only player to push the match to 3 sets, ultimately winning 6-3, 5-7, and 6-3 on court 5. Graduate Matisse Ross tied the match, 1-1 with a 7-5, 6-3 win over Court 6. Oklahoma responded with 2 back-to-back wins on Court 4 and 1 to tie it. But sophomore Chago Perez extended his undefeated conference streak with a 7-6 and 6-3 win on Court 3, tying the match at 3-3. But in the end, it came down to Tokach's key win on Court 5, who clinched that victory for the Ags. So A&M is back home on Friday, March 6th at 6 p.m. to take on Auburn.
Can I get a softball update, please?
Yes.
Just give me just what they did this weekend, and then we'll come back and hit softball again.
Yep, number 5 Aggies swept Sunday's doubleheader, winning game 1 against Idaho State 4-1, followed by defeating number 13 Texas Tech 7-6 Sunday afternoon to wrap up the Texas A&M Invitational at Davis Diamond.
How did they do overall on the weekend?
Overall, they lost 1.
5-1.
5-1. They're 20-2 overall. So
good stuff. Thank you very much, Carter. Appreciate that. So we were at Angry Elephant.
Yeah.
We met Scott and Scotty. They were great, right?
Scott and Scotty and Mike. And
yeah, we met a whole crew.
A whole bunch of folks.
But Scott was like asking us about 1775. He wanted to go today. I'm like, you have to wait till Thursday, bud.
Yeah, because it's amazing. It is worth the wait.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm not feeling good, but if I know that I have 1775 to look forward to, it makes me feel better because I love that succulent brisket and that sausage with the cheese and the jalapeno.
Yeah.
And the pork ribs and the turkey. I'm trying to do the carnivore diet, so that's perfect for me. The only problem is if I go out there on the carnivore diet is I can't eat that queso mac and cheese, which is so amazing.
So you're just eating meat all day?
Just meat.
Meat and
eggs. The way it was meant to be.
Yeah. You're a savage, right? Hunter or gatherer, you do it all.
No, Nick is a savage.
Yeah, this is true. Go check out 1775. They're open Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. Online ordering turns off at 10 a.m. 8203 Raymond Stossel Parkway in College Station, 979-492-6241. Or check out 1775txbbq.com. Olin's snapping his fingers.
I have no rhythm.
You know this song, though.
No, I don't.
I think it's part of your.
I'm not familiar with
You were
that
snapping with Little John. You were doing it with him.
That was Little John?
Little John.
Where's Robin Hood?
I wasn't expecting that. Well played, sir.
Yeah.
TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. OB, our buddy Colton worked on some notes for us.
Okay.
And you know some of these, right? We're just going to kind of go through these 3-point trends.
Okay.
Just so it hurts more. I just want it to hurt a little bit, right?
So
like we're going to take the Band-Aid off slowly, okay? And then when they start winning again, we can all kind of appreciate the journey that it was. Against Mississippi State, A&M shot actually pretty well from the three.
Yeah, I think they had 8 of them in that
34.8%.
Yeah.
Hit 8 of 23. Wade Taylor and CJ actually had a nice game, shooting the 3 that game. Mississippi State, one better than A&M, at least from the 3-point line.
9 of 25.
9 of 25, correct?
Reserves.
So the threes in that game wasn't too bad. The best 3-point shooter in that game was Claude Harris, and he on the year was averaging almost 35% from 3. Against Tennessee,
oh my,
we remember this one. A&M, was it 5 of 30?
Was it 5? They didn't
5
get
of 30.
to 6. Yeah, 5 of 30.
16.7%. You know who the best 3-point shooter was that game?
Chaz Lanier.
Well, for A&M.
Oh, for A&M? Yeah, I do. It was Anderson Garcia.
Yeah.
I think he had his first 2.
He did. He missed his 3rd one, though. And then he stopped, because that's what we appreciate about Anderson. On the game, by the way, he's a 29% 3-point shooter. He was 2 of 3 that game, so that was huge. Tennessee hit, was it 2 for, oh, sorry. Tennessee hit 13 of their 27 for 48%.
Almost 50%. That's crazy.
Chaz Lanier, well, he went 8 of 13.
With 6 of them in the first half, I think.
Yeah. So 30 points total. Let's continue down this path, shall we? Is it hurting yet?
A little bit.
A&M actually didn't shoot that many threes against Vandy.
Mm-hmm.
They were not that big of an issue. 7 of 22, okay?
Yeah.
I think 22 in today's college basketball is a fine number, 31%. I'll take 32%, 31.8.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
However,
Vanderbilt hit 10 of 24.
How many did Tyler Nickel have?
Tyler Nickel looks like he had 21 points and 7 threes.
7 of 10?
All of his.
7 of 10?
7 of 10. That's 70% OB if you know how to do math.
Yeah.
Is that good?
That's exceptional. That may be better than exceptional. Whatever's better than exceptional on
it's
the
7
good
of 10.
range is that's what that is.
Okay, now we're going to go
Spectacular.
Spectacular. We're going to go on to A&M versus La Florida, okay?
Yeah.
Florida. A&M was 5 of 17, 29%. Not horrendous. Not good.
That's
respectable.
Fairly much.
It's above their season
I was going to say,
percentage.
that's kind of what you'd expect from A&M.
Zurich Phelps didn't have a bad game.
Made his first 2, I think.
Yeah. He was 2 of 4, 16 total points. Florida, they went 14 of 33. That's 42%. That's really good, especially when you make 14 of them. Okay?
Yeah.
Will Richard hit 6 of his threes.
Yeah.
Now,
I thought that was the guy that used to kick for Alabama.
So A&M 3-pointers taken and made in that stretch, 25 of 92, 27%.
Uh-huh.
3-pointers allowed to be taken on defense, 109, made 46. So that's teams are hitting 42% in this losing streak of their threes against A&M. And they're shooting a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the A&M defense's philosophy is to force your opponent to shoot a 3-pointer. And I guess that works as long as
they miss them.
They're not making them,
yeah.
Or at least not making them in that volume.
And I feel like in all these games, like you can point at things that went well and then things that A&M didn't dominate in, right? So A&M did not dominate the boards. They lost the boards. That's an area, especially on
Did Florida have more boards?
Sorry. I think so. Am I right about that? Am I right about the boards? Double check that.
I thought it was real close, but A&M had an edge. But
okay.
I don't know.
I should go back and say my point was dominant. They usually
42-37. Florida out-rebounded A&M.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
By 5.
Yeah, right. And usually an A&M victory has
A&M winning by 5 or 6 or 7
more,
or 8 or 9. So what they're great at, and I think they are a great offensive rebounding team. They've been number 1 or 2 most of the season, right? They weren't great at. What they're bad at is giving up threes.
Mm-hmm.
These teams have all been great. Free throws, I didn't crunch the numbers here, but I don't think free throws have been the issue for the most part in this 4-game losing streak.
No. A&M was pretty much what they are on free throws in that game. They got to the line 28 times.
Yeah.
And made 68%.
Not great, but
they're,
that's who they are.
They weren't the team they were against Alabama when they missed 20?
Yep.
So Florida has so much length, so much height. And it's not just they got 3 or 4 guys they can put out there that can go get the ball. And then I think the guy who was really rebounding for them, I think it was Richard, not a leading rebounder, but a guard that was getting in there.
Yep.
And, they're really good. And A&M's really good when they're playing well. But Florida will make it difficult for you to play well. They're really good when they're Florida when they're focused.
Yep.
They almost lost to South Carolina. Then when they had to, they just did what they had to do and won. And then they lost to Georgia. But I just don't think they were as focused. And Georgia was focused in their game against Texas. They blew Texas out of the gym, out of the Texas' own gym.
Yeah, they did. Let's hit a break here.
We need a break.
We need. I'm going to try to come back with some happier thoughts. I think I can. I think I can find them 1 or 2. Did you or someone you know graduate from A&M in the last 12 years, and are they leading by example in business and in service? If that is the case, the Association of Former Students would like to invite you to nominate yourself or someone that you know for the 12 Under 12 Award. Each year, the association recognizes a dozen Aggies who have graduated within the last 12 years for their business accomplishments, civic or military service, philanthropic efforts, and outstanding representation of A&M's core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service. Previous year honorees have included leaders in business and higher education, architects, petroleum engineers, nonprofit execs, physicians, veterans, and members of the U.S. Armed Forces. 2025 nominations close on Saturday, March the 15th, so be sure to submit a nomination soon. To learn more about the recognition and submit a nomination, please visit tx.ag/12under12 nominations.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggieland Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Liucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggieland Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggieland Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggielandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Liucci sent you by.
Welcome back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in here during the Go Hour. He is Olin Buchanan. I'm David Nuño. The Angry Elephant News and Social Center's over there. We went to the one in Fairfield, Cyprus, hung out with a bunch of... I have to thank those who came out because busy weekend. I know some people are a little disappointed in the way our teams are playing. Some folks were on their way to Dyken Park to watch the game, but we got to meet some very cool peeps. We had Michael, we had Kelly, we had... several players, Scott and Scotty, as we mentioned.
Mike and I've already forgotten the name of
Jared.
the guy. Jared
has lived everywhere. Kazakhstan,
Siberia,
Paris. Yeah, so it was. We had a
Houma,
nice time.
Louisiana.
Yeah, Houma,
which
Louisiana.
might as well be Siberia, just warmer.
It was fun. We had a good time. So thanks. We'll be doing another one of those here soon enough. Maybe even in a different city. Ob.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So we'll be traveling around. Did you see this? Fake injuries could cost a team a timeout. They're proposing a rule change.
Okay.
The NCAA Football Rules Committee has proposed a timeout to be charged whenever medical personnel enter the field to evaluate players after the ball has been spotted for the ensuing play. Teams without timeouts would be assessed a 5-yard delay of game penalty for each instance.
See that once again, there's such an easy solution to this. It won't be 100%, but so if a guy's legitimately hurt, I'm going to lose a timeout. I'm going to lose 5 yards. Can you imagine all the outrage when that actually happens?
Right.
Just if a guy gets hurt and has to leave the game, he cannot come back into the game until the next series.
Yes.
Why is that so hard to figure out?
Because there are going to be guys that are actually hurt that do not want to cost their team a timeout or 5 yards.
They'll send in a walk-on in there for one play to say get hurt. But if you do that, with a walk-on out there, you might give up a big play.
Right.
So, but it's that simple. And it's just bewildering the way college sports are so freaking run by such idiotic people that are always trying to come up with a solution that just creates more problems.
What businesses are run by smart people?
Well,
TexAgs,
SpaceX,
I know. SpaceX, yeah, okay, we got SpaceX, I'll give you that. But I feel like there's just a lot of dumb people in the world.
And they're all in the NCAA. They're all in college sports. It's that simple. Plus, if you got hurt enough to stop the game, maybe you need to be out off the field.
Yeah.
For a while to get your faculties together. It's bewildering to me how this is, and you know what? If you do that and that doesn't make a difference, then maybe you have to.
Then you go to this.
But do you really want to be out there and hey, it's a really important part of the game. Maybe you're getting in field goal range to kick a game-winning kick.
Right.
And a guy got hurt, and he said, "Well, sorry, you don't have any timeouts. I know you're going to spike the ball, but we're going to have to move the ball back 5 yards," and then he misses the field goal because the guy's legitimately hurt.
Right.
It's just who comes up with it? Remember the whole deal is, well, if you storm the field, you should lose a win. Yeah, I mean, you should forfeit.
Here's what we need to do: is get everybody and come hang out here at TexAgs and just listen to us. We can discuss it as a group. I guarantee you in an hour we can figure out 90% of college football.
You make me king of college football and all the problems will be solved. They're that simple.
Which other one would you fix, OB?
Well, you know what? I would have changed I always said
overtime?
The overtime, I'd move it back to the 40. Because if you put it at the 25, you're basically giving them a high percentage field goal if you don't score a touchdown.
Yep. And
so if you at least put it to the 45, there's a good chance that you can't just trade field goals.
I agree with you there. By the way, they're talking about in this, I don't have all the rules in front of me that they're discussing, but taking away one of the timeouts in the overtime. Because I think you get 2, I believe. And then after the second timeout, that's it.
Yeah, and what I really hate is, okay, we did it this way, and it's happened with LSU and A&M, so we can't have
time.
Yeah. So let's get it to where we're just going to put it on the on the 3-yard line and see back to back until somebody says, that's like finishing a soccer game with penalty kicks. Don't you think?
Isn't it ironic, Obi, that you would choose soccer?
All right, well, we're gonna play, instead of playing an overtime period in basketball, let's just put guys and see who can shoot the most free throws.
It better be Wade Taylor.
I mean, what are they? I love college football. I hate the people in charge of college football.
Yeah. Well, look,
the playoffs should be 8 teams, and the conference champions get in, so automatically, no matter what. So that puts a emphasis
on the regular season,
on how important winning your conference championship is. Now they're talking about not even having them. Do you hear this? The one of the days, instead of the SEC's talking about, instead of having a championship game because we don't want to mess up the
play-in game.
Let's have a play-in game. What? Well, okay, fine. Have a play-in game. Who's going to be the conference champion?
Team with the best record.
Well, what if they have the same record because they don't all play each other?
Tiebreakers.
Well, they don't all play each other. What is going to be tiebreakers?
Points per game.
Maybe we'll just vote on it like we used to do.
We'll go right back to where we were. Stupid. We'll hit a break. We're going to hear from the people. That's what we'll do in the next segment. Can we hear from the people, Obi?
Yeah, let's hear from them.
Let's do it. You can text in. You can call in 979-693-1150. Milliken Reserve is a farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes. They got trails, they got farms, and they got wide open spaces, and their mission is to build a healthy community around nature. They're dedicated to the conservation of a healthy community. They want to make sure that you know that they want to connect families to nature and to each other. If you like being around your family, which I do, OB does, I know you do, you should go out to Milliken Reserve and have a great time just being outdoors. Jumping rope, flying kite, fishing, climbing trees, whatever you're into outdoors, throwing the football, go to Milliken Reserve. You're going to have a wonderful time. They have all the animals that you can imagine, from the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, the turtles. And homeowners of Milliken Reserve sharing a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you'll come back to that pristine countryside place. You can learn more at millikenreserve.com. That website, millikenreserve.com. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games. They're at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. Eye of the Tiger. Eye of the Tiger. One of the greatest songs ever. Top 10.
Top 10 songs?
Yeah, gotta
no.
No, no way.
Got to get you going. I mean, top 10 songs that get you to want to play in a sporting event.
Well, if you want to start qualifying it.
No, I'm going to qualify it now for that. Can you be in a bad mood and Eye of the Tiger come on and put you in a good mood? Yes.
Well, I'll qualify it for y'all. Top 10 lamest song of all time. Number 1, Eye of the Tiger.
Oh,
there you go.
Man.
And this is somebody who likes classic rock, who appreciates older music.
You're not a big fan of Survivor.
No.
Look,
no.
I'm not going to
You
say
may
that.
not be a Survivor once.
This is not going to go well for you.
We will rock you. Also on that list.
Okay, I'll give you that. We will. That I don't need that song in my life. Okay, I don't need it. But Eye of the Tiger, I need.
am a fan of the band Queen, though.
Yeah, I like Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, the movie was great. The band's great. I love it all. Yeah, they've got awesome songs. But
I like Fat Bottom Girls. That was that's a song by Queen. It was a good song.
Apple Bottom Jeans?
No, Fat Bottom Girls is what it's called.
Oh, sorry, didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a song. Look it up and listen to it. It's a good song. You'll like it.
I guarantee you, if I took a poll from our audience right now, Nick, you'd be in the minority. Eye of the Tiger is one of the greatest songs in the history of music.
No.
Yes. It takes you back to 1986, the Cold War. Hello? It makes you feel like you can go to Siberia and work out like we talked about, okay? It makes you feel like you can hit the PK, your favorite part of soccer. It makes you feel like you can hit the free throw, knock somebody out, do well on your test. Eye of the Tiger.
Makes me think of Auburn.
The football game?
Yeah. Well, that's their song at Auburn. They sing that line, then
Well, they're smart. That's why they won the game.
Yeah, Auburn.
The football game. It's a great song.
Yeah, that's why.
that's why.
That's why.
My children were raised on that song when they were 4 years old. You better hit that kid hard when you go in for a tackle. Yes, Daddy. Eye of the Tiger, sir. Yes, that's how we roll in the Nuño family.
Eye of the Tiger.
Agree or disagree, Carter?
I agree. I like the Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
The Eye of the Tiger, I haven't heard it referred to.
The Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
All capitals, man. It gets me hype, so I'm on Team David for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. When was the last time you listened to Eye of the Tiger and then went out and worked out?
I actually, in high school, we played it I was in drumline, so we played it as like a cadence, and every time I played, I was really...
I'm going to tell you right now, over at A&M Consolidated...
If you want to go out and get on your drum line and get that cadence going...
It's a fun one.
Eye of the Tiger. At Consol, Tigerland Stadium, they play Eye of the Tiger on repeat, and that's why they win. They keep winning.
Because they play Eye of the Tiger.
They had the Eye of the Tiger. We should probably get to people complaining about basketball and baseball, or maybe there'll be a happy one. What do we have?
So Calvin 1 says, Nuño, Ags losing to UF was expected. Nothing has changed over the past 3 weeks. Team shoots poorly, especially on threes. Opponents shooting large number of threes because that's Buzz's philosophy. As he encourages them to shoot, they're making 10 to 15 per game. Opponents have figured Buzz and the Ags out, period.
Expected to lose? Sure. Doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. Because people expect a team to lose on the road against a higher ranked team, yes. Yeah. But guess what? Vandy was ranked lower than A&M.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, it can be true, but it can also be disappointing.
Well, didn't Missouri beat Alabama?
Yeah.
So
it happens.
Upsets happen against good teams, and I don't discount A&M's chances to win any game. But I just didn't feel like Florida was a good matchup.
I had the Tigers getting destroyed on YouTube. Nick put a poll. You got to poll the old people, Nick. You can't poll the young people.
So now we like the old people.
Yeah, right now.
Now we do.
Well, I'm a part of the community now. I'm getting letters from AARP. I hate it. Stop emailing me or text or whatever. Mail. Why? I'm not 50 yet.
Me and AARP are good friends and have been for a while.
You went to the founders meeting.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
We've got one more on the positive note. The Brad Cave on YouTube. Wade Taylor is 25 points away from passing Bernard King on the A&M all-time scoring list.
He's going to
Maybe he'll get it tomorrow night against Auburn.
Okay, if he gets it against Auburn and they win, this show on Wednesday, off the chain.
Okay.
Put the Tiger off the chain.
Take that Tiger off the chain and let
him have the eyes.
Let him bite somebody.
Arr. Make the noise for me. Come on.
Well, that sound like a tiger?
I don't know.
Is that more like a tiger?
Oh, gosh. Sometimes this show, we just have to go off the rails to just To preserve the sanity, OB.
Keep from crying.
Yeah. All right, OB, we'll get back to it tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, coming back on TexAgs. We're going to talk some baseball. Michael Earley, Ryan Brauninger. He's already in the lobby. Tight black shirt and all. We'll talk to Bronny on the other side.
Team David with the
Team David. Irma's smart. You know, we Latinos stay together. We're a team. We're a pack.
Latinos and Latinas.
Hey, you know what? They say the eyes never lie, Chico.
See.
Tony Montana. All right, we'll be back. It's TexAgs Live. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Ryan Brauninger is here with us. We'll talk about a roller coaster weekend for A&M. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering Hotline. We're joined by Michael Earley. Coach Earley, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
Well. So obviously much better to talk to you on a Monday after a win. Just kind of take me through your roller coaster weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously there's no denying we went through a rough patch, and while we gotta get better from that, and you can't forget it and you got to learn from it. I just thought yesterday, well, I'll never be happy not winning a series because that's not the standard. But I think in the situation we were in, just playing the way we played, specifically offensively, I'm just trying to move forward with it. And I like the vibe we had before the game. And to me, the best part of the game is we got down 3-0, and they never changed the plan we had going into the game. And that plan was turn that care meter down a little bit and find it somewhere in the middle. And they did that, and that part was good.
Coach, what have you learned about yourself over the last 7 days?
I hate losing. I think I already knew that. But, I mean, it's just it's tough. I mean, I always, when players are struggling, I always feel for them. And then you put the fact that you're the head coach, and it just makes it double worse. So, I mean, that's just I've learned that I know this game's hard, and I'll never forget it. And the ups and downs and the swing of things are real. And you just got to play, and you got to coach just one pitch at a time. And that's what I've learned. And I've also learned, celebrate the wins, learn from the losses a little more than we had been doing.
Yeah, and I think you in your postgame last night, you said that you had been up late talking to Hayden Schott and Gavin Cash, and there was a noticeable difference in the body language and their kind of pitch-to-pitch interaction with their at-bats last night. That had to have been encouraging for you to see from the dugout, whether, Cash had all the hits and Schott hit the homer, like whether that happens or not, that looked like the guys, to me, that we'd seen in the fall and spring, correct?
Yeah. I mean, the message to them, and, there's a few of us in there just kind of chopping it up. It was, you got to relax. Like, you got to, which is hard when you're not hitting. You think when you're hitting good, that makes you have fun. But what you forgot was you were having fun, and that made you hit well, and you're just relaxed. And that's a roller coaster. It's hard to get back on the right swing. And they took a step in the right direction. I thought their approaches were really good. Just really tried to simplify things for them, and bat on ball, stay in the opposite field gap. Whatever happens. Good routine in between pitches, which I thought we did a really good job of last night. And that's not just because we did well. Like, they were doing it when we were down. Like, that was the part I really liked. Like, they just stuck with it. They didn't hit any panic buttons. And yeah, just overall, I thought, yesterday was productive, and I really think we could grow off it.
7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, you're writing down those hundreds of lineups that you often do on your whiteboard or on your notes app on your phone. And I don't think any of them had three true freshmen starting in week 3 in a game against Oklahoma State. And then obviously now without Stewie for a little bit on the back end, just how much of the struggles kind of were attributed to the lineup looking nothing like we expected it to 3 weeks into the year due to the injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, first of all, I think we have the guys we put in there fully capable, but when you're in a lineup specifically, when guys are struggling, I got to believe if you got Gavin Grahovic and Caden Sorrell in there, they might help with a little bit of the lull that it got in at times. But and then having Stewie out is obviously a hit to Stu, but some guys have really stepped up and done their job. And I mean, but at the same time, you got Terrence Steele, like that guy. You can't be playing much better than that guy is. He's a different type of player than those guys, but he's playing his role and he's doing it really well. And so, yeah, I mean, we've been challenged. Like, we knew it was going to come. You never know when it's going to come, and that's a beautiful thing about this game. Is just you never have it figured out, and the moment you think you do, it'll slap you right in the face. And I don't think we felt like that, but at the same time, I don't think anyone anticipated getting challenged this early, which is gonna. The only thing I can believe and know it's going to be a really, really good thing for us moving forward.
Coach Earley, is it a sigh of relief? Is it, all right, here we go, now we can be ourselves? When you get a performance where you have 12 hits and 4 different batters with multi-hit games, like, can one game be a catalyst for what this team can really be?
Absolutely. just how one game and, you know, a non-performance can kind of spiral in that direction, which you got to get a hold of. But yeah, I mean, Brownie knows, like, hitters need to get hits. Like, Jace capped 2 balls last night, got 2 hits. Like, you need that. And just like early on, I think he hit a ball like 109. Maybe it was the first game everyone thought was going out. It was an out. So you need those hits, and that helps. I mean, confidence hitting is, I don't know what the percentages are, but you can have a terrible swing, have a terrible body, but if you're the most confident player in the world, you can get hits, and vice versa. It's a part of it. So yeah, you need to see those things fall. I think, you know, the only way I can think is that it's going to get us going, because I believe in these guys.
Just your thoughts on the performances of some guys that were kind of inserted in the lineup in the last week. Sawyer Farr, Matt Bergevin. It seems like Bergevin's at bats last night were competitive. Had the single on Saturday, and I know as you tinker, you're just looking for whatever best combination clicks and fits together. But what do you think of these guys, and even Sam Erickson getting his first shot?
Yeah, I think you said Matt had. He didn't get. I don't know if he got a hit. I don't think he got a hit last night, but he had competitive at bats. Just competitive at bats. Wasn't a break in the lineup. Sawyer, I thought, did the same. Had a nice line drive yesterday that the guy caught. He's just got to get more comfortable being a freshman. But I think that guy has a lot of room to grow in a positive way. And I think we'll see that throughout the course of the season. And then, yeah, Sam got thrown in there first start. A tough matchup, but Sam's going to be fine. Sam's good. Just kind of threw him in the fire a little bit, but that's how this is. So, I thought he was competitive. He didn't get the results he wanted, but I don't question his effort.
And then, one of the foundations of this team so far has been the starting pitching, and Ryan Brauninger was, again, brilliant. But what I really liked, Mike, was the performance of Justin Lampkin when it was all kind of crumbling around him defensively. And then obviously Miles Patton misses with some 2-strike locations a couple of times. Rice gets to him, and then he settled in and really competed, maybe not with his A-plus stuff either. So with Lampkin, with stuff kind of crumbling around him, and then Miles with maybe not as sharp as he'd want to be, I thought both of those guys really showed some backbone.
Yeah, that's how I judge a player in general, but in this case, particularly a pitcher. Like, how are you doing when things aren't going your way? And the big part of that is, I believe we're really going to hit. So when you keep us in the game and give us a chance, we're going to pick you up. And that's what I believe this team has to be. So there's going to be situations like that where maybe they're getting hits or we're not making plays, but you keep pitching, keep executing, keep us in the game, and we'll pick you up on the back end, which they've been doing all year. I was really impressed with Lampkin, just the poise, and same thing with Miles. Like, a lot of guys will just start balling after that, and he didn't. Just stayed in the strike zone, and our starting pitching is awesome. Like, we can win with these guys, so that was really good to see.
And then on the bullpen, I thought there were some really good performances over the weekend. And, how much have you had to kind of pat Clayton Freshcorn on the back and say, hey, dude, like, he's got to be the most unlucky reliever in college baseball right now. Like, the average exit velos to some of these hits he's given up is going to be well under 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to talk to him today, but I think I think he knows. He's a pretty confident kid, has pretty good perspective, but you're exactly right. Like, he's found some holes on him, but he looks good. And I wanted to get him back out there yesterday, and I'm going to keep throwing him. So yeah, he's had definitely some unlucky stuff, but he'll come back around.
Talking to Michael Earley here on TexAgs Live. Let's talk about Caden Kent, who during a difficult stretch, challenging stretch, has played some really good baseball. Just talk about his approach, mindset, and how things are evolving for him.
Yeah, I think he since the time he's been here, from the first day he stepped into, what he is right now, he's a completely different player, and that's just because of his work ethic. And, he probably hits too much, but I'm not going to slow a guy down like that. So he means a ton to our team, and he just continues to get better. He continues to get better, and I think we've gotten glimpses of it, but him having the opportunity to play every single day is he can breathe a little bit and he can just go out there and play. And he's been he's been great. He's been great. I still think he's going to continue to grow and get better as the season goes on. So I'm just really pleased with how he's playing.
Coach, do you feel like over the last 7 days you've kind of figured out a better way to coach these guys, both individually and collectively? And what I mean by that is, you know this, you can go into the cage when some guys are struggling and you can talk mechanical stuff. And there are some guys that you can't. And I don't know that you really understand how to interact with players until they fail with stakes on the line. So do you feel like your relationship, which was already really good with this roster, but do you feel like you understand more how to coach them now after the last 7-8 days?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's the biggest part. And that's what I feel like I'm good at, is anyone can coach guys when things aren't going well. But to me, I get excited about the turnaround and helping guys through struggles, because that's what coaching is. To me, at least, and it's not always fun. I think that's probably why it's not for everyone. So, yeah, we just want to help them. We want to help them, and it's easy to help guys when there's not a lack of effort or a lack of care. So they've been great to work with, and it's going to be, I just love the process of the season. Win or loss, clearly you want to win, but just helping guys get better individually and trying to stay with them and keep them positive, and we're at the same time holding them to a standard on things that they can control, which I think they've done a good job of that. So yeah, it's miserable and fun at the same time. You're trying to solve problems, and that's the fun part, but you hate the fact you're in that situation. You can't really change it. So it's just a little bit of a swing of emotions, but it's just what it is.
Did you take any time last night, 6th inning, to listen to the dugout? Did it sound different, or because where you sit, you can hear everything? That's the way I always felt with coaching, is like I get a feel for my dugout by listening to it between inning, during inning, that kind of thing. Did it sound different as kind of the exhale happened last night?
It did. And I truly, and I hope I'm right, and I think I'm right. I think the exhale happened before the game. I really do. It was just kind of like a moment, and I think we had some good talks. And yeah, but it was the same in the first and the second when we didn't score as it was in the 6th, and that was the beautiful thing about it. But yeah, I'm sure there's an exhale, like guys getting hits, and of course, like they were into it the entire game. They were having fun. They were having loose. I didn't want them to walk into the park yesterday like we just lost 4 in a row. It was like, make sure we all dress the same. We look the part, crank the music up, walk into the park like you belong, because you do. And they did that from the jump.
Talking to Michael Earley here on TexAgs Live. Coach, just talk about the busy week with the 2 midweek games and obviously New Mexico State following up a nice win against Rice, just the busy work ahead.
In the past, I have not liked double midweeks. I don't like them at all, except for now, except for right now. I think it's exactly what we need. Like, I don't think we can draw it up any better with what's in front of us. Just because we need to play. Off today, I'm sure guys will be in here doing stuff, and we get a game off, game off, game. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it is what it is. I'm just excited I think right now we need to keep playing. I wish we played today. So yeah, it's going to be a busy week. We're going to get tested. You'll probably see some new guys pitch, Gavin Lyons is a freshman who's really, really good, hasn't pitched yet. Probably should have at this point, but you'll definitely see a guy like that in the next couple of days. And then Aiden Sims again, Cade McCoy. Not sure who we're going to start yet, but yeah, so I'm just ready and they're ready, and we just want to get back out there as soon as possible.
That is Michael Earley. Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck this week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Michael Earley on the Bumpy's Catering Hotline. All right, we'll hit a break. More with Bronny on the other side. A lot to digest from the weekend. A lot of dose of reality. And I think we've got Bronny. It's always better to talk after a win. Regardless of what happened before, we have something good to talk about, especially a win with a lot of offense. So we'll get into that on the other side.
Get some. Maybe they had some Eye of the Tiger going in the batting cage yesterday.
My guys are getting destroyed. Eye of the Tiger on the YouTube, but they're mounting a comeback right now. At one point, we were losing.
I don't know the ins and outs of this. I feel like I got a Liucci-esque narrative thrown at me, but I did agree with Nick's premise. But Nick kind of came at me.
Yeah.
And you could tell, Nick, it was kind of like a leading question. He asked me what I thought about the song.
It's one of the greatest songs
but
ever.
I
said top five.
Nick, what I'm saying is the way you delivered it was leading somebody down a road, but I agree with what he said.
What did he say?
Well, he was like, Eye of the Tiger, top 5 song of all time.
For me, it is.
That's the poll question. That's what I put on YouTube.
Poorly.
I didn't lead him anywhere.
I don't like your tone, young man. Look, for me, it's a top 5 song. I understand this, but I qualified it in a sporting event. It might be number 1.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
Yes, but it's okay. Different strokes for different folks.
Is it not a top 5 sporting songs of all time?
Not for me.
In sports?
Not for me. Off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
But listen, I understand.
One better.
I understand why you relate to it. And like for
era.
100% could see that being your alarm every morning. Dun, dun,
I get
dun,
up.
Dun. Yes. You put your gi on.
Heck yeah, I sleep in it. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, I once drove there in a gi. It was embarrassing, but I did it. You should go there. It's not a far drive. We'll get into that in a minute. But what? What, Bronny?
No, nothing. You just finish your, make your money.
All right. I'm not making my money. I'm just telling the truth. I once wore a gi to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Adam Dunker can tell you, yeah, he did. It was weird. He walked in here. But
do you wear anything underneath your gi?
Oh, of course I wear a shirt. Yeah, because I don't like the hair popping out.
Just a shirt?
Does it? Of course I wear other stuff. There's too much movement going on.
We need to go to commercial break.
This Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Great selection of commercial vehicles with service body trucks, flatbed trucks, several medium-duty trucks for those heavier jobs. They're locally owned and operated. They have complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. Free oil changes for life on the life of your purchase as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Proud supporter of Aggie Athletics. Remember, not a far drive, 15 minutes, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. It is 9:24 here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. More Brawny. No Eye of the Tiger talk this segment. All right, Braun. Do people ever call you Braun? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Ryan, let's talk baseball.
Nobody calls me Ryan either, except my mom and my wife.
Well, Bronathan. I'm the only one who calls you that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Bronathan, let's talk about this weekend because I'm a big believer. A couple things. Like, what happened with Gavin? This I think was so good for Gavin Cash. I expected Hayden to figure it out, but the reason I think it was big for a guy like Gavin Cash is when you're the new guy, established on a team of a bunch of guys that have done it in front of each other before, you want to be at that level. You want to show them, hey, I'm just as good as this group right here. People know what Hayden can be. Gavin, we've read the numbers, we've seen some of it, but him doing it yesterday for this group, I thought was important for his confidence.
Yeah, it's been a bad week. It was a bad 7 days. There's no sugarcoating it. There was a lot of things that left you scratching your head. Basically offensively and defensively. I thought the pitching was fine. Like when I do my grades every week, The pitching's going to grade out really well. The other two areas probably will not. Not probably, they will not. What I was saying on one of the radio broadcasts, I believe it was Saturday night after they lost to Oklahoma State, where I thought that was the poorest performance of the season. In a 9-game stretch or wherever they're at, 10 games that they've played, and about half of them they've not played well. I thought that one was the poorest performance all around, and I felt awful for Justin Lampkin, who was having to just watching it melt down behind him, get no help offensively, and that's a really good Oklahoma State lineup, and he just kept coming after him. So that was really impressed with his mental fortitude and just his spine and backbone to stand up in the face of that and just keep going after a really talented lineup like he did. But what I was saying to Andrew Monaco and Clendenin was in there as well was like when guys press you and they struggle more so than they ever have. The pressing manifests itself in different ways with different kids. Hayden Schott presses differently than Gavin Cash. Caden Kent presses differently than Sawyer Farr and Blake Benderup. And so it was all the same underlying issue. They were all pressing, but it was all manifesting itself much differently. Now, some of the common themes were on the offensive side were they were getting completely backwards in their plan. And you could tell how sped up they were by the types of pitches they were swinging at or moving at, like checking a swing, and the pitches they were taking. I mean, some of these guys are taking breaking balls, fastballs in the strike zone that they can handle. We've seen Jay Slavolette, for instance, hit some of these balls 450 feet, and he's taking them. And then he gets to a full count and waves through a slider that's 57 feet bouncing in the dirt. Blake Benderup, check swinging on balls in the middle of the zone, chasing sliders down. It was just completely out of the ordinary. Hayden Schott was doing that a lot as well. Cash expanding the strike zone greatly. And if you look, even Benderup did it once, Caden Kent did it once, and I believe it was against Arizona. But there were two more instances throughout the weekend where I was tracking and going, they get to full counts, which is something they do, and then they expand the zone and put balls in play for outs. That should be tracked as well. That's part of them not being in their plan. I hosted TexAgs Radio for a while, TexAgs Live, whenever the basketball team was really struggling at the free throw line. And my baseball analogy would be, Buzz's teams, the free throw line is a weapon for them. No different than the walks are a weapon for Mike Earley's baseball teams. And when they're struggling shooting free throws on the hardwood, it'd be like Mike Earley's team getting to full counts and expanding the strike zone and not taking the walks. And that's exactly what we've seen them do. So if you're trying to draw a comparison between the two sports, much like A&M was struggling at the free throw line, the Aggie baseball team was struggling at their free throw line. What they do well, they weren't doing. And that was the overarching. So there was a lot of individual differences, but the collective pressing came out in those scenarios to me. So, and you could just, I had some, not to get into my personal stuff, I couldn't be at the ballpark yesterday. I had to make a trip to Beaumont. It's fine. but I got to watch the game on TV for the first time. And whenever you're in the ballpark, and especially calling the game, you don't really get to, you're not close enough to see facial expression. And, you know, when the camera cuts to guys at the plate or they cut to the dugout, you don't get to see that a lot when you're broadcasting the game. It was a noticeable change in body language and demeanor. And then as that happened, there was a noticeable change in overall quality. And it's not just the hits and the runs, like Coach Earley said. You start watching their interactions with the game pitch to pitch, their ability to track pitches. You know, even the ones okay, now they're taking strikes that are tough strikes.
Right.
And they're getting good swings off at balls in the zone. Like, it was all better yesterday. And they did that in the face of 4-game losing streak, playing a Rice team that's gotten beat up, and Rice jumps out to a 3-0 lead. When the panic meter could have just kept skyrocketing, they just kind of stuck with it. And that, to me, was the most encouraging thing, was the quality of the at-bats, the quality of the offense when they were down 3-0, and then they sustained it through the duration of the game. They were really good at bats all up and down the order. Even a guy like Matt Bergevin, who didn't get any hits, had 2 really good barrels, was getting deep in counts, swinging at the right pitches. So even the outs looked better yesterday. Hopefully, you know, I'm not a believer that you can get it all back in one day. Like, you're only as good as your next performance, right? And you're only as confident as your next performance. And UTSA is going to come in here tomorrow. They're playing good ball. And if you look up and down that UTSA roster, there's a lot of ties to this area with guys playing in their starting lineup, and they're playing well. So UTSA is coming in here confident. They just saw what Texas State did to A&M last Tuesday. But I do think, you know, if you're trying to get it back and you're trying to find your swagger and play to the level you know you can play, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. 1 6-gram portion at a time with a side of rice, small side of rice.
6 grams would be really small. I would probably go 6 ounces. 6 grams would be like a bite.
Okay. Well, I don't know the calorie count and the macros on elephant. Speaking of elephant, though, you look at that schedule that Nick's got popped up.
Yeah.
We're 2 weekends away from an undefeated Alabama team coming in here, and a team that's playing much better than everybody thought in the preseason. So you've got, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, then 3 against New Mexico State, then 1 against PV. So you got 6 games before SEC play starts. That's where we're at.
Well, let's kind of, before I let you go, look at A&M teams from the past and and you can use other programs if you want, what non-conference success means in SEC play, especially for a team that came back with a nice nucleus, but missing some serious people, right? And a new head coach. Just talk a little bit about that and how this team can weather that to be successful in SEC play.
Well, I'll say that the start for this team feels a lot like that 2023 team that was coming off the Final Four in Omaha and returned so many guys. They came in with the expectation. I think they were preseason number 3 or 4.
Yep.
And you could feel that expectation. And especially when you don't start the way you want to start, it just spreads through the locker room. Like, everybody gets tense because it's not because they don't care, it's that they overcare. And that's one thing that Coach Earley said is, like, they're over trying. And you go back to 2023 and I can remember feeling like Austin Bose was trying to get 10 hits in 1 at bat.
Yeah.
And Trevor Warner was doing the same thing. And so, like, getting that weight where you don't feel that pressure day to day, getting that off of you is a good thing. That 2023 team fought it the entire year, and they still almost beat Stanford and made it to a super regional. So you're hoping that this team can put it in their rearview mirror. Outside of the A&M program, if you're looking for other examples you want to keep your glass half full, which I know I'm talking seemingly to a very small portion of the fan base right now. If you want to keep your glass half full, Ole Miss won a national championship a few years ago when they were the last team in the field. And then last season, Florida was awful in the midweek. They were awful in the non-conference, and they made it to the semifinals.
And they gave A&M everything.
Yes. Very easily, if Jace Lavallette's not 6'6" and a freak athlete, A&M's Omaha run could have been Florida's Omaha run.
Yeah, exactly right. Bronny, thank you, sir. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll do an open segment, talk a little hoops before we do Around Aggieland with Kay Naegeli. Right now, Bird Dog, they're an Aggie-owned and operated company creating access to hunting opportunities. If you love hunting, if you have the eye of the tiger, you should check out Bird Dog. The website is birddogit.com. They'll help you out with all the logistics, anything you want. If you want to have some added concerts to your event, you want to have whatever. They got it. They got the full service hunting experience with all the food, the personal chef, you name it. They can do that for you. They can teach you how to hunt. If you're a seasoned hunter, they can take care of you as well. But if you are a landowner, they want to help you make money on your land by not only getting you hunters on your land, but you don't even have to have hunts on your land. They want to find you those tax benefits, optimize those tax benefits for you. Some of their clients are making an extra $100 to $500 per acre of land. They can be your personal consultant and help you maximize that income on your land. The website, again, is birddogit.com. Again, birddogit.com. Check it. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. If you want to text the show, you can certainly do so at 979-693-1150. We've got to pay that off. We will read some of those here in a moment. So we've talked about the three-point defense catastrophe, if you will, the last few games. I'm going to just touch on that and move on to some other metrics that I think you guys need to be paying attention to. But in the Florida game, Florida hit 14 of the 33, 42%. Vanderbilt, 10 of the 24 for 41%. Tennessee, 13 of 27 for 48%. Mississippi State hit 9 of 22. So that obviously is a consistent trend that we've been talking about on the show of teams' best three-point shooters or guys you have never heard of having career games. So that's part of what's going on. Assist-wise, I found the offense against Florida to be disjointed. And, I mean, was it 3 assists in the Florida game, Carter? Am I right about that?
3 assists.
So that, to me, you can watch the game and notice it. But even if you didn't watch the game, when you see 3 assists, it tells you ISO ball. And to me, ISO ball is not a good formula. I use NBA comparisons sometimes, which probably isn't fair to college athletes. But I got to watch James Harden up close for many years. And you guys know I'm not a big James Harden guy. One of the most efficient scorers of all time. But one part of his game that I hated, and I still hate, was ISO ball. Because ISO ball at the end of games, to me, loses games. I've seen it too many times. Right? Teams that spread the ball are much more efficient. Now, I understand sometimes that's your skill set. That's your team skill set. That's going to be the only way you're going to score. I understand that. But 3 assists to me is not a number that we need to see. And how many assists do they average on the year?
Assists per game, 13.5.
13.5
per game.
So obviously something they have to be better at. The other thing is Wade Taylor. And we've touched on Wade Taylor quite a bit recently. But let's talk about it in this way. Because he is their best player. He's their most gifted offensive player. He is a streaky player. But my notes show him as 1 of 7 versus Florida from the three-point line, 2 of 6 versus Vandy, 0 for 3 versus Tennessee, and 3 of 14 versus Mississippi State. So the three-point attempts have gone down since the Mississippi State game, but the makes aren't necessarily there. You know, I'll take 2 of 6 in the Vanderbilt game, but you need your star players to be stars when it matters the most. So his recent issues have obviously hurt the team, as it would. And you've seen teams that they've played against, Chazelier, have guys go off and have marquee games. Turnovers seem to be a problem as well. On the year, how many turnovers are they averaging?
Turnovers, 13.1 per game.
There was a stretch, though, where they were significantly less than that. I just wrote down some stats here. Against Florida, 15 turnovers. Vanderbilt, 12 turnovers. Tennessee, 10 turnovers. And Mississippi State, 13 turnovers. You got to be at your best against these top teams protecting the ball. You can't have high turnovers and low assists and expect to win games. You just can't. It's not going to win basketball games. And then the rebounding variability. Losing the rebounding edge to Florida, which, by the way, OB said it going into the game. That's a bad matchup for A&M for their length and, Alabama, by the way, and also how good of a team they are. But when you are great at something, you need to be great at it against the other opponents. I know a lot of people are, just down in the dirts with Aggie athletics at the moment, and I understand it. And we have at times, many times, talked about the turnaround that happens in February, right? Right around Valentine's Day, right around this time, with the Quentin Jackson year, it was like the last few games in February. I think it was the last 3 where they turned it on after losing 8 in a row, and then they got really hot in March. The point is, last year around this time, they had a losing streak, which I believe was also 5 games. I believe it was also 5 games at this point last year. This is 4 games for A&M, so I shouldn't say also. But it was a 5-game losing streak, and then they started playing better, and obviously they won a game in the NCAA tournament. This is where they got to turn it on. And you're looking at some of these metrics. To me, that's not Buzz Williams basketball. They got to clean it up. And yes, some of it is the opponent. Some of it's in their heads. Some of it is Wade's in a little bit of a slump. If a few of those, I say a few, if Wade Taylor gets back to being efficient, I think all this goes away. But let's not put all of it on Wade Taylor. If they get back to rebounding at the clip that we're used to, they've already kind of cleaned up their free throws. I mean, they're not fantastic. They're never going to be fantastic. They've had a couple of fantastic games, but they're never going to be fantastic. But get back to what you can count on and clean up a little bit of the other stuff, right? Clean up the turnovers. Then when you play Auburn, nobody's expect you to beat them, right? Except diehard fans. But Vegas isn't going to expect you to beat them. There would be no reason because the trends are looking one way for A&M and another way for Auburn. But at home, senior night, go pack that place up. Find a way to inspire them even more. Wade Taylor, he saved that performance for the Auburn game. Then you get that sigh of relief. Go take care of business against Baton Rouge, and you feel better going into March or into March Madness. All right, let's hit a break here. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Around Aggieland. Kay Naegeli will have some stuff to get into. Right now, we're talking Southwood Valley Animal Hospital. They've been serving the Brazos Valley for over 30 years, but back in 2022, Dr. Justin Casares and Dr. Lauren Casares took over ownership, and they're doing some great work here in the area. When you go there, tell them you're a TexAgs listener. They're going to hook you up with a nice discount, the TexAgs 12. Or if you're your first time visit, if you're a student, they got student discounts as well. So make sure you tell them that you're a student listener. Man, a student listener would be the best. But if you're an adult, I don't care. You could be an adult student as well. If you're an old person who just wants to take care of their animals, doesn't matter. Just tell them you listen to TexAgs. Tell them you're a student. But they're all Aggies there at Southwood Valley Animal Hospital. And they provide routine veterinary services, including wellness visits, sick emergency visits, and surgical cases at very affordable prices. The phone number for Southwood Valley Animal Hospital is 979-693-9898. That's 979-693-9898. Or visit southwoodvalleyvet.com. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been around since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Time for Around Aggieland, presented by Normandy State Bank. Normandy State Bank, rock solid banking. The website is normandystatebank.com. And with that, we have the Kay Naegeli.
I don't think we all meant to wear blue today because we're not feeling.
We're feeling blue.
We are feeling blue. So we all just subtly picked blue today. How are you doing?
What was Bronny was in black. What was Olin in?
Don't know. Black, yeah.
So we're in mourning and we're feeling blue.
Yeah, black tea, blue. Maybe we should wear some fun colors starting from here on out.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it. How
Remind
about that?
Me. I won't.
I'm going to talk about losses, so we're going to feel blue for a second. Buzz Williams Aggies dropped their 4th straight contest at Florida over the weekend, and they will play host to number 1 Auburn. That AP poll hasn't dropped yet for this upcoming week, but Auburn has been absolutely rolling right now. They're going to stay at 1. That is an 8 p.m. tip on Tuesday. That is a late night again. Hopefully the Aggies can get back in the win column, and that would be a big way to do it. Moving over to the women's basketball front, it was senior day at Reed Arena yesterday as Texas A&M wrapped up their 2024-2025 regular season. It came to a close on a sour note as Arkansas got the best of A&M, beating the Aggies 80-71. They will be a 16 seed in the SEC tournament. They were actually tied in the bottom of the lower half of the conference, but due to head-to-heads, A&M will be the 16 seed in the SEC tournament. They will play Tennessee, the 9 seed, on Wednesday, March 5th. That is a 10 a.m. tip, an early one out there in Greenville, South Carolina. Actually, Tennessee beat A&M earlier this season without AC. Women's basketball is now down to 7 players. So hopefully they can either get the player back or just get some momentum going out there in Greenville. On the baseball front, Early's Aggies went 1-2 this weekend at the Astros Foundation College Classic, capping off the weekend with an encouraging performance against Rice, a 14-4 win there. In 7 innings, they will host UTSA on Tuesday and then Texas Southern on Wednesday. So 2 games for Early Zags this weekend. They also dropped to number 14 in their in the D1 baseball poll. Softball, we're going to talk about some wins, playing 6 games in 4 days in front of the 12th man at Davis Diamond. Trisha Ford's Fighting Texas Aggies are tuned up for SEC play. They will take on Florida next week with a 5-1 showing at the A&M Invitational. Like I said, number 3, Florida will be coming to town. I expect A&M to make a jump to number 4. UCLA was ranked higher than them. UCLA lost this weekend. So should be number 3, number 4 here in Aggieland this weekend. It's going to be a great outing for Trisha Ford's Aggies, and hopefully they can come out with maybe a sweep. I mean, maybe at least 2 wins, at least wins the series. That program is absolutely rolling right now. On some more positive front, I should have just started with this. A&M men's track and field team won the program's first SEC Indoor Championship with a final race thriller on Saturday evening. The Aggie men secured their first title with the men's 4x4 relay anchored by Kumar Farquharson, who ensured the team's win. They concluded the championship with 107.5 points, 9 medals, 5 gold, 3 silver, and 1 bronze. The women's team came in 5th at SEC's, but both squads got a hold of the Cottons Holdings Lone Star Showdown trophy. They both ranked higher than the Longhorns in both the men and women's categories, so it's great to have that trophy back in Aggieland. On the tennis front, the women's team pushed its home streak to 62 and 63 matches after downing Arkansas and Oklahoma. They were ranked number 12 on Sunday. They will now hit the road to face Auburn on Friday. I'm going to pick up the rest of my notes here because I dropped them mid-segment. So men's tennis fell to Arkansas and then claimed a back-and-forth tussle against Oklahoma. They are back at home, actually, to host Auburn on March 6th at 6 p.m. Have some different golf news as well. The men's team finished Sunday's open round of the Southern Highlands Collegiate tied with number 12 Illinois. They're in 6th place currently. They will keep competing throughout this week. And then the women's golf team will return to the course at the Clover Cup in Arizona. That will start March 10th. Equestrian, they were back home on Saturday for a noon match with for senior day against number 1 Auburn as well. And then swimming and diving, they host the last chance meet over the weekend. That was a good tune-up before the NCAAs that they will have. So that's all you got from me. I had a lot of time today.
Yeah, you did. Thank you, KK. Appreciate you. Let's go back to that Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carter, I know we had a bunch of texts that we haven't been able to get to and comments on both YouTube and TexAgs.com. Give me something good.
Yep. So Randy Brandenburg on YouTube says the basketball team will get rest after the SEC tournament, and we will see the defense we are used to in the NCAA tournament. Have no fear.
I don't think it's a rest thing. I'm not saying that rest won't be good. Is it Randy or Brandy?
Randy Brandenburg.
That's hard to say. Yeah. Right. Brandenburg. I don't disagree with you that the rest will be good for the team. I think just there's something schematically that they need to alter. Like maybe I don't know. I'd have to get with some real basketball minds, but they're leaving somebody open constantly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the problem. And when you leave somebody open constantly and they start feeling comfortable and the other guys know that this team is a team that gives up a lot of threes, there's a different level of confidence. They just got to switch up something about the approach. Not too much. I think maybe some timing, maybe a little bit of the looks coming out of those double teams. We'll talk about that on the other side. Buzz Williams will join us. Billy Liucci will join us. And we'll get back to more of your text messages. 979-693-1150. It's TexAgs Live. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy Liucci is in studio, executive editor and co-owner. We go to the Buffy's Catering hotline. That's where we find Buzz Williams here on the program. Buzz, good morning. Buzz, you there?
You guys can hear me? Or
yes,
no?
sir. Yes,
Perfect.
sir. Yeah. Hey, Buzz, I guess let's talk about the current stretch right now. When you see your team play these last few games, have you seen anything from a confidence standpoint, or is it just shots aren't falling when they need to?
Yeah, I think you learn a lot in all of this, whether the results are good or bad. A credit to our guys and a credit to our staff. I think they've been very receptive to those lessons, trying to apply those lessons as we enter the last week of SEC play. I thought we played incredibly hard at Florida. Unbelievable environment. College game day was there. Really good team. And, it's a 1, 2, 3 possession game. Most of the game, we bring it to within 6, as you know. And then from about the 8-minute mark on, we did not do a good enough job on the defensive glass. They beat us to too many balls that our first shot defense was fine. We just didn't finish with the rebound. That was the first time in 15 games that we had been beat on the glass. We still shot more balls. We still shot more free throws. We did some good things. We just didn't do well enough to beat the third best team in the country, according to the metrics that matter on the defensive glass. It was our lowest defensive rebound percentage since we played Alabama. In Alabama, that was why we lost by 6 to Alabama, was they just beat us on the glass. So I thought that was the difference. Our guys were great yesterday and 2 days before in getting ready for tomorrow's game, and I anticipate they'll be great again today.
I want to talk about, Buzz, in a minute, the opportunity that lies out there in front of y'all tomorrow night here at home. But during this stretch, two things I want to ask you. I want to ask you, first, let's start with this. You were talking about it. The second chance points. I saw so much has been made, and the numbers do jump out at you, like how teams are shooting the three against you guys lately. When you go through your analysis and postmortems or whatever, day after these games, is that the case with a lot? Is a higher majority of those 3-pointers are being made? Are they after defensive rebounds, like second and third chance possessions?
Yeah, good question. The last 3 games, the amount of threes made are at a high percentage.
Yeah.
And our defense does force you to shoot more threes. Florida was averaging 27 threes a game. They shot 33 for the game. What I would say specific to Florida, the 23s they shot in the first half were off of middle penetration. Okay. And we changed some of the coverages at halftime. They shot 12 in the second half. A couple of those came off middle penetration, but several of those did come off offensive rebound, pitch out, dagger type shots.
Yeah.
Tennessee, their threes, obviously number 2, particularly in the first half, he had 22. I know not all of them were threes. Number 5 from Vanderbilt, the game in between, he made 7 threes. We have awareness to those level of players. We give it specific language. Our premise and how we guard those guys is different relative to how they score and how they shoot. And there'll be some of that applies tomorrow against Auburn. The second half would have been dagger threes against Florida. The first half threes would have been our premise defensively is to try to keep the ball on the side. And too many times the ball got to the middle, which now all of a sudden the ball's in the middle and your defense is most vulnerable. And we didn't do a good job preventing them from getting middle in the first half, and we were better at that in the second half. 14 threes made, a very high percentage. One of the stats we chart is contested three percentage. And then we also break down, are those threes catch shoot or are those threes off the bounce? Normally, if they're catch shoot, it means you're coming from a long closeout situation.
Yeah.
If they're off the bounce, typically it's coming from a short closeout situation and or it's just a one-on-one ISO move. Most of those shots in the second half from Florida were short closeout ISO moves. And you want those, if you're going to shoot threes, you choose those more often than you do long closeout catch shoot threes because teams are going to shoot those at a higher percentage.
Yeah. My second one was in this in this stretch, and you're looking ahead. You're looking ahead into Tuesday and probably not beyond, but you're also, I'm sure, how can I get this particular basketball team as deep into March, as deep into the SEC tournament as I can? I know there's always a big picture to it, right? Is there anything you've seen in the last 4 or 5 games that concerns you more than anything else, or is this just we need to start playing better in all areas and win and start winning a couple of these tough games?
Sure. We need to play better.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I could isolate specific things to make it sound as though I have all the answers and point blame. The blame should be on Buzz.
Yeah.
We've been ranked every week of the season. I think we have played a schedule that suggests if we have success, we should be ranked every week of the season. Texas A&M's played 113 years of basketball. That's only happened one time prior to this year. That was in 2006, 2007. I am disappointed, as are our players, as are our coaches, over the last 2 weeks. They have handled all of this with great maturity, with great character. We understand the expectations from the outside and how disappointed everyone is, and we acknowledge that. We pay homage to that. We're very respectful of everyone's opinion. But I actually think, Liucci, there's a lot of lessons that have come from the last 2 weeks, and we don't want to fast forward to the postseason. We don't want to participate in what the prognosticators are saying relative to what our seed is and all of those things. We need to be our best, and that includes me, and that includes our coaches, and that includes all of our players. And the results in the last 4 games have not been exactly what we want them to be. We understand that. We apologize that everybody's upset and disappointed. But in the organization, there's been great accountability to how we can improve in the specific lessons. And there's been great accountability in when you improve individually, our program improves. And we want to be the best that we can be as we get into March. And there's unbelievable opportunities. We did fall 2 spots. We fell 2 spots in the numbers that matter in losing to Florida in the net and in Ken Palm. There's great opportunities in playing the number 1 team tomorrow. They've lost 1 conference game to Florida, and they lost at Duke. And so from a metric standpoint, it's another great opportunity. And in essence, like I told our team yesterday, the same thing will apply the rest of the season. And so we just need to continue to improve and find ways within that improvement to hold one another accountable to being the best that we can be.
I think just if you and I were sitting here talking off air right now, and I'm going to say it on air, I mean, the way your players, this particular team, and for the last few years, 5, 6 years now, but this group and the way they carry themselves, I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to handle it, wins and losses, the right way. I don't think I've ever seen a stretch ever
of A&M basketball where a team has played 3 number 1 seeds in a 5-game stretch, because that's what we're going to look up and realize is about to happen when Auburn comes in here. So, yeah, I think you guys, and it's a compliment, you mentioned the all-year stretch. And again, this is Buzz and I talking like if we're sitting there, and you can care if this is good radio or not. This is a conversation. But you guys have, it's kind of like the blessing and the curse, right? And it's kind of like what we do here. You guys have reset expectations with the way you've played this season. So, yeah, I think everybody got gassed up when they're seeing the 2 seed and this number 7 ranking. And you guys have a schedule in front of you that you have to complete, and then starts the postseason. And ultimately, you know what the goals are. So I don't think anything about, I think there's been some overreaction that I've read personally. I also think you guys got to fight through this schedule because, it is what it is. You faced the toughest schedule you've ever faced in the non-conference, came through it. This is the toughest conference schedule that not only Texas A&M, but Florida, Auburn, Alabama, Texas, everybody's going to ever play. And there's going to be stretches where you take your lump. So I think it's just a matter of fighting your way out of it, and let's see when that happens.
Yes, sir. I have a lot of thoughts on all of that, and I pray a lot to make sure that the words that I say have high humility and zero arrogance. And I'm not disappointed or upset in anybody's reaction because I'm unaware of it, just because I don't participate in all of those things. But on a couple of your points, our schedule overall thus far through the 29 games we've played is top 10 in the country. That's never happened in the history of Texas A&M. Specific to the last 6 games of the season, it's the number 1 toughest schedule in the country. But we're not trying to justify with numbers and or opinions. We understand what this is, and there's a tax on it.
Yeah.
And the tax that's the cost of living your dreams. And so what was it when we arrived? What was it during COVID? What was it year 3? Like, I don't know that it's right for me as the head coach to participate on air or off air. As you know, I don't talk to you unless I'm doing this, and it's not because we're not friends.
Yeah.
It's because I want to give my best. This is week number 20 of the actual basketball season, and I absolutely adore the 106 years of experience of the people on my staff, and I absolutely admire and respect and love in a genuine way, regardless of result, the young men that are in our program that play for us. And I'm aware of every scenario because of my relationships with their families, of all that has transpired since they've been here, and their commitment to one another and to our program. And I don't want to be selfish, arrogant, or condescending, and for sure not sarcastic in all of those categories that you mentioned. That's just part of what comes with this. And I'm aware of that. I have done my best to educate our players on how to handle themselves publicly, how to handle themselves privately, how to handle themselves on social media. It's just the exposure that comes with it. And if you're not comfortable with the exposure, then you probably have to do something else. And when you leave here, if you stay in this industry, the exposure is never going to change. And there's been a lot of lessons that we have actually learned when we were winning. And there's a lot of lessons over the last 2 weeks when we have lost. And we have history of players and coaches that have responded to adversity in a way that's very rare. And my loyalty to them, I will never betray, regardless of the opinion or what you're saying that you've read. I don't know those people. They're not in our group. They don't travel with us. Whatever Rudyard Kipling, hey man, we're going to be in the fight. And that's what comes with it. And so I want to make sure that I'm the example, that my words and my actions match up. We're going to keep trying to do our best, and we're going to keep trying to hold one another accountable to our best. And we're not paid, so to say, to ride the emotions that others are able to. We're paid, in essence, to give our absolute best and be accountable, not only for the process, but also for the result.
Well said.
Buzz, I'm not trying to simplify things, but I'm just going to ask you a question I asked Michael Earley earlier. Can one game be the difference? Like, can this game against Auburn, wherever game it is, one game kind of jolt this team back to playing the kind of basketball you're used to seeing?
Yeah, again, like that would be based on the result, and I understand that's how we're judged. We need everybody to be their best, and we need everybody to understand, and I personally believe they do, the context relative to what we have created, as Liucci said. Like, nobody has ever talked about this sort of thing from start to finish in a college basketball season at Texas A&M, literally since 2006, 2007. And so all of us are walking a path together that we've created, and we are humbled and thankful for that path. And we also understand who Auburn is, and statistically speaking, they're the best college basketball team that there has been in that year span that I'm talking about. And so would it jolt us? That I don't know if jolt is the right word, because I think our guys are very aware of what is required to be their best. And collectively, we have not been our best. And individually, some of us have not been our best. And so we're working and practicing and in the film room, how can we be our best, to give language, to give pictures, to give evidence, so that we can continue to grow and try to improve relative to whatever is going to transpire the rest of this month.
Buzz, appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow against Auburn.
Thanks, Buzz.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was good.
Yeah,
you know, I know you want to go to breaks. When we come back, my thing, I get torn sometimes over the years of doing this, where coaches, I used to not like the bunker mentality, the us against the world approach. This is back in the day, because I would go, you know, it feels like alienating team versus, you know, it's all of us versus the world. And sometimes it felt like with different coaches along the way versus the fans, because what they say is bad, and almost like ignore all the good. We're staying here. That's, as I've evolved in this and as I've done it, I totally get it. It is because you have a job, coaches, players, and now more than ever in the days of NIL and stuff, you have a job, a task, something you're trying to accomplish together that is winning. So that goes for when you're winning and when you're losing, because when you're winning, you can get distracted by the flowers, by the praise, whether that's basketball, whether that's baseball. With, you know, think about what was said about these guys the entire offseason, what they read, what they heard. That can be just as damaging as when you're losing and you want your kids to not be on social media and not listen to what, you know, and stay the course. So they're on a task here. And I think I've come to realize over time, that's not us against anybody. That's blinding. That's like blocking out the noise. And it doesn't mean blocking out the negativity. It means blocking out the noise, period.
Everything.
And if my guys aren't trained to do that, there are distractions everywhere at all times. So right now their distraction is, and I absolutely believe this, they set a standard that, yeah, they've lost all four to tournament teams. I think my only issue is in a couple of those, they haven't played as well as I'm used to seeing them play. And so in my head, I'm going, okay, I'm trying to determine how does this play, like what rhythm and momentum are they reaching the tournament in. I'm also to the point, David, where you first of all, I am acknowledging, like, hey, going on the road to play a Florida team that just got really upset the game before by Georgia. That was the worst Florida team you were going to want to go play in their home gym. I thought they played great against Tennessee. I'd like to see them tomorrow night play great against Auburn, win or lose. Like, bring your A game, and in 2 of 3 games against these number 1 seeds, feel like you could have won the games. And ideally beat Auburn, knock off number 1, and then not just feel that way, but know it. But that's what I'm trying to look at right now as an analyst. And then if I was a fan, I'd be doing the same thing, which I am. How far can they go? I've also, and you have too, watched enough college basketball to know momentum is what? This Auburn team that everyone's raving about, they had momentum last year too. I was in the gym. You know, I watched them win the I was at the semifinal, but they won the SEC tournament last year. They had all kinds of momentum. Yeah. Their next game, I watched them cut down nets in Nashville and then lose to Yale. You know, we've watched teams that go in on a slump win a bunch of games. Texas A&M played Jerry McNamara. That was the year after. I think they played Jerry McNamara in Syracuse. We won 5 games, 5 days. Syracuse was this darling pick. A&M beat them in first game. You know, that is the weirdest tournament. It is not like baseball where you play a regional, then you play a best out of 3. It is one and done.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at is not, yes, I want to see them win tomorrow night because I want to know they played 3 number 1 seeds and probably a 2 seed in Bama. And of those 4 teams, not to mention Tech and Purdue, their record is this. And in only one game, which is right now Florida, did they look overmatched and where Florida was just the better team. And I know A&M made a run there, but Florida just looked better wire to wire. That's why, to me, this Auburn game is pretty big because to advance, you're going to have to beat one of those teams. And the way your resume's trending, you're going to have to probably beat Auburn to get back into that 3 conversation.
Yep.
Right? It probably will put you right back in it, but you have to beat Auburn. If not, you're looking at that probably that 4 range, and that means it's 1 round earlier where you're going to see a big dog, and that's. I want to see how they fare against those type of teams. And this stretch, it sucks. It's made a lot worse because it's coinciding with the baseball struggles. It's exactly what's happening right now. It's like a dovetail in the most negative of ways in terms of like just the fans and the reaction and the frustration.
Yeah.
But this basketball frustration, I think, it should be anyway, more of, damn, I really want to see this team go far. I don't want to be disappointed because I know what they're capable of. Because they've shown us. So to me, you don't want to go in a total whimper. I want to see them play well in Nashville. I think it's important for this team, but it's not the be-all, end-all. But I think it's important that they go into March confident, you know? And I think that's the battle he's fighting every day. And I think if there's a battle that Buzz Williams wins, it's a confidence battle with his basketball team because they've been there, done that. Wade Taylor, I think, Wade's been through an 8-game conference losing streak.
Yeah, 21, 22.
Ended up where this team was playing their best basketball after that losing streak. It's not, we don't want that. You don't want to see that as a fan. I absolutely want to see them playing better basketball right here. I thought they had to beat Vandy at home, and that was the one game I think in this stretch where I was most disappointed in how they played. Going on the road in the SEC, brutal. Ask Florida. Hopefully we can ask Auburn after the game tomorrow night and Bruce Pearl. You know, it's tough. So to me, though, it's about what is their body of work? What are they capable of? They've shown us over the whole year we know what they're capable of. So I think that's where the frustration is because everybody wants to see them get back to that. But there are good ways and bad ways, I think, to handle and express that frustration. And to me, I think the way I'm looking at it is let's wait and see how they go into March. They've got to play better basketball. I think they've got to defend better the 3-point perimeter. I liked what he was saying about the closeout versus the off the dribble. Because sitting there on the court or court side or close to the court, what I typically do and what you guys do in the media, you can see when it's a matter of just a great player making a play and beating the guy athletically versus they're late getting there.
Yeah.
And you also, when you see the guy running out there late, you all of us watch and go, well, that's going in because that's a confident shot. And look, the Aggies have to know their limitations, Nuño. They are a bad 3-point shooting team. And that is one thing I do know over the course of a season. Can they heat up? Yeah, because there's individuals, namely Taylor, Phelps, and Wilcher, who can absolutely fill it up when they're feeling it. So hopefully that happens. We saw that happen last year with Wade Taylor and even to a lesser extent Boots, who was not a great 3-point shooter. All of a sudden, they started banging down shots, and they looked like a team that could go on a real run. They ran into U of H and took them to the limit. But they had to look, and none of that was what we thought throughout the season. No one thought, hey, they're going to go into Nashville and threaten 90-plus points every game, and then they're going to go play Nebraska and run them out of the gym with shooting in the first half. So I think you at least want to see it trending the right way. But my God, man, this is as brutal. It's not feel sorry for the Aggies, and I don't. Again, I think they should have been buttoned up and playing better in this stretch. But it's as brutal a stretch as I've seen, and it's not. Again, everyone in the league has had to face this type of stuff, but Bama's going through it right now, and they're one of the best teams in the country, and did go to a Final Four last year, and do have the best players that Nate Oates and money can buy via the NIL. Like that momentum in that program is rolling right now. They're in a brutal stretch, and they just lost a gut-wrenching game to Tennessee that was even more gut-wrenching than the one Tennessee put on A&M. That's Bama. I know we don't want to hear that. They're better. A better team over the last couple of years, and A&M and Alabama have had some wars, but I've never seen 3 number 1 seeds in 5 games, and the other 2 teams, one on the road, one at home versus tournament teams. Again, welcome to the SEC. This is very reminiscent of college baseball, and last year's A&M team.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We had a little technical issue with our Wi-Fi, but we're back up, and we're going to just finish that thought and then hit a quick break. But you were finishing on basketball. I think everything was heard until like the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I was just saying when you're going through a stretch like this, the SEC in basketball this year is like baseball and softball, which there is not. Is this team even going to get out? Is it going to even make it to Omaha? Braden's in a slump. What's going on? It makes you question, and I get it because I'm watching. I'm going, damn. The other night, that's watching them play Vandy and go, man, they're not playing anywhere close to what I've seen this team play. But you have to watch it and understand. Now the job is to not let this stretch of schedule break you. Because there's a lot of basketball to be played, and A&M's in the postseason. They're solidly in. They've earned it on their resume, their body work, and they earned it because of the type of team they are. So they need to get back to that, and hopefully it's tomorrow night because that could turn the whole thing around in a hurry, as you know.
I think we're out again. It's TexAgs Live.
the ending.
And we're back on TexAgs Live.
I mean, can we discuss?
We can discuss.
Nuño with 2 kids that came in here to see the studio just now with their parents. It did not go the way you planned, did it?
I asked a couple questions that they didn't have an answer for.
They didn't land.
But I made them feel comfortable in the studio. They were very nervous when they walked in. They didn't want to bother our presentation. And then I made them feel like they were part of the team. So much so that they drew a piece of art that I hope to put on my wall one day of the studio. Is that how you internalized it?
Do you like Jace? Is Jace your favorite Aggie? I don't.
That could have been Jace Carter. Jace.
No idea who it is. Do you like baseball? No, I'm not. I don't really like baseball.
Do you like Marcel Reed?
Wade Taylor. What about Wade Taylor? No, I mean I don't really know baseball. No, he's basketball. Oh, I don't like basketball either. What about football? Yes, I like football. Marcel Reed.
I heard yes.
Didn't know who that was.
That's not my fault.
And then you go, yeah, let's just go with Marcel Reed. And you're like, what about you? To the other kid. I don't know. Okay, Marcel Reed for you too. It was very.
Did you want me? Not...
Yeah, I was sitting here
I could have been like this.
This is me.
Silent.
Hey, this is me when you're doing it. Like it was. Is any of that not true?
I mean, what are you supposed to do? I'm on Team David still.
Yeah,
I think I could have handled it.
Yeah, you're like, hey, let me give you some dab. The kid was like, I shake hands. I go to business meetings.
Yeah, with 6-year-olds.
Listen, Che Guevara, relax, okay?
Che Guevara. This is not even army green.
It looks like it on camera. If my mom was watching right now, if my dad, they'd be like, oh.
This is brown.
Team Che.
This is tan.
All right, Fidel. Anyway, I think we're back on track because we've had Wi-Fi issues, but I think we're back.
Are we?
Can we discuss baseball? Because we've spent a lot of time on basketball.
Yeah, and I think basketball and baseball are, unfortunately, they are interwoven together right now in terms of, until last night, they had the dueling 4-game losing streaks. Both very, I think more so the baseball unexpected. Again, like Texas A&M, 2 of those 4 games in basketball were against number 1 seeds, contenders to be, national championship basketball teams. That has not been the case with baseball. They were the team that was picked to be the national championship contender. They're looking at a situation now where they have to get better now because nothing that they're going to have because of their upcoming opponents and, before conference play. And because they only beat Rice and it wasn't Oak State, it wasn't even Arizona, who could maybe make noise in the Big 12, they will go into conference play with 0 on their resume. Like nothing. Texas State even would have been a nice win because, they historically, history tells you they're going to be in the postseason. Hell, you never know with them. They could be like a regional host. But you have nothing to show for in the non-conference. And I'm thinking you're probably going to go into the postseason and your resume is going to be based exclusively on what you did in the SEC, which can be more than enough. But that is coming up very quickly here, right? Alabama is coming up. Who's the first SEC series? Bama, right?
Yeah, Bama.
It's coming up very quickly. It's 2 weeks away, basically. Actually, less than 2 weeks from now. And the baseball they've been playing, this team will get eaten alive and will not reach the postseason. If that's a big if. I don't expect that to happen. I expect them to play a lot better. And they know that. Like, this is not SEC level at all, what we've seen. Now, you hope that they get Caden Sorrell back. You got a lot of guys on this baseball team that, to me, Jace Laviolette, Hayden Schott, Gavin Cash, just off the top of my head, 3 guys that in their careers, a body of work, are much better hitters than we've seen so far this season. And it's not even close. Like, they are, over 2 years for Cash, for Jace, and like 5 years of evidence for Schott, they're much better hitters. So you have to think that is going to show. And you bring back in a Caden Sorrell into that. Now you got, if you feel like those hitters are who they are, and they are, and you throw in Sorrell, that's half your lineup right there. That should be hitting a lot more than what we saw last night versus how they've been struggling. That's been the biggest surprise, biggest letdown, whatever you want to call it. And Hensler's ripping the cover off the ball, and then Caden's been solid and then was spectacular last night. When that all comes back to form, this team should start being really tough to get through the lineup again. And like a high-end Omaha type of lineup, okay? They have not been that so far. And the reasons why, I mean, I think Earley and his staff and the players, a lot of really proven players were having a hard time figuring it out, but it's baseball and there are slumps. And when you have a bunch of dudes slumping at once, they say hitting is contagious, so is not hitting. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And confidence in this sport, to me, is it's probably baseball and golf, where when your confidence sags, it can spiral on you in a hurry. And it has spiraled on this baseball team. And I don't know, David, and the defense, it's not, we're talking about, man, they're not a good defensive team. And the numbers say they're not. All the errors the other night against Oklahoma State, that was so bad. But those can compound upon themselves too. I just see a team that's playing right now that, like, you're just waiting to see who makes the next mistake. And it's like impending doom kind of spread throughout the whole team. And it's a team-wide slump to open a season. They're not playing good baseball. They looked great last night. I know everybody ruled Rice and that thing. Doesn't matter to me because it's a confidence thing. And I think a lot of guys did what they needed to do to start getting that confidence back.
Right.
And to have fun and to be loose. You can't play baseball tight. And I don't know if it's a whole off season of hearing your number one and pats on the back and walking around with this level of expectation that something was going to be given to you versus having to go take it. And Early kind of referenced that after that Texas State game. I think personally, though, more of it, in my opinion, is they put so much pressure on themselves early on. Like, and you're really without, I know Gavin was playing, but you're without Gavin, you're without Sorrell. You've put all this pressure on yourselves as veterans and newcomers, and the level of expectation is as high as it's ever been. Was it Kendall Rogers that said, I don't think there'll be a guy in the lineup that hits below 300? It's insane. But you look at the lineup, and it was not a crazy statement, but it's an insane level of expectation. But you have to be able to manage it because you managed the praise all offseason, and you proved you could manage it last year as expectations got higher and higher and higher with this baseball team. So it's not an excuse, but it is a 60 game season for a reason, 30 game conference schedule for a reason. The cream rises to the top. I think there are going to be highs and lows, and hopefully these couple weeks have been A&M's low point because starting pitching has been elite. It's been among the best in college baseball so far. And your ace is a true ace. He continues to go out and show that every Friday. And the bullpen is interesting because I think that it's the bats that have been the biggest reason. I mean, you gave up 4 to Oklahoma State despite 4 errors, so it's the bats and the defense. But you gave up 4 in that one. You gave up 3, and I know the bullpen blew that lead late against Arizona, but there was a couple plays that weren't errors, but that could have been made.
Yep.
They shouldn't have been able to. If your defense is strong, you're not giving up those runs. But even so, your 2 losses this weekend, you gave up 7 runs combined. Your loss to Cal Poly was 3-2. Texas State, they got rocked, but that was actually a bullpen game. I mean, in all of your losses but one, your pitching, starting and really, they gave up 3, 3, and 4 runs in 3 of those 4 games. They should have won every one of those
with the lineup that we thought they have and that they should have. And quite frankly, when you're playing Texas State on a Tuesday night, you hammer those guys out of there. How many runs did the Aggies give up to Sam Houston last year? I don't know. Was it Prairie View or Great? I think it was Prairie View that came in here and scored. These Tuesday games can get like that. Last year's team would have just slugged Texas State out of there, and they would have won 11-7 or something. So to me, the issue has been what's happening at the plate and then defensively behind it. But I think a lot of this, Nuño, is right here with these guys. And so a game like last night against Rice, where everybody's hitting home runs, Jace is collecting 3 hits, everyone's happy and excited, and they come home feeling good on a bus ride. Now this schedule sets up where they need to go, 5-0, 6-0, 5-0 this week. And then do they play 2? I don't know if they play 2 games the week of the Alabama game, but they need to go on a run here where they win several games in a row without a loss, without a setback, and they roll into this SEC play with a lot of confidence.
Hit that on the other side. Right now we're talking Rollo Insurance. To go without a plan is just a wish. When the going gets tough, and sooner or later it's going to get tough, you need to put things back together. And if you call a call center, it's going to take you forever. An automated phone tree. How about a personal agent's cell phone number where you can call them up? Not all options are created equal. And at the Rollo Insurance Group, there are good days to make sure you're kept out of the bad days. Go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs to learn more. You can call them up as well, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. They got 60 offices in Texas, but their headquarters, again, is right here on Highway 6. 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Final segment of the program, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. So tomorrow on the show, typically we have Josh Pate at 9 o'clock. He's not going to be with us tomorrow. Yeah, he's not. He's going to be with us on Wednesday. So he'll be here Wednesday. I didn't say here. Well, I did. Wednesday at 9 a.m. We'll talk to Josh Pate.
Perfect.
And then, so we'll do is the old switcheroo, John Harris, tomorrow at 9 a.m.
And we got a good interview that we'll be recording today. That'll go out today.
I think people will want to click on this one.
That'll go out at about. We're going to do that at 12:30, and I think I'll make a post here in a minute that you guys can have a little direct involvement in it as well.
I think you better become a premium subscriber. Billy, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Perfect.
As you know, Harris tomorrow. Working on some other cool things. We will talk to you mañana.